hit this motherfucker, G.
Nah, man, I can't fuck with it right now.
Oh, man, I've been dealing with you for 3 motherfucking months. You ain't hit the pipe in front of me yet.
So what you saying, man?
I thank you, 5-0.
5-0. Man, I ain't no motherfucking cop.
Well, hit this motherfucker then.
I can feel it.
Buy this car to drive to work to pay for this car. Buy this car to drive to work.
Welcome to the Yellow Brick Road. I am Jordan, and tonight I'm doing a fan request video again. As you can see, there's a grifter on screen, but don't worry, he's only the moderator. He's going to moderate for 2 other grifters, allegedly. Well, one I'm sure of is either a grifter or he works for the FBI, and the other guy, probably a race baiting grifter type of guy. Oh, he sees success from this. Gotcha. So he follows it. It's not a, I need the fucking truth. Yeah, it's Tariq Nasheed versus Jared Taylor debate. We're going to watch some of this. But first, please remember to share, support, hopefully donate to Devon's Journey to Recovery and Unapologetic's GoFundMe. Both links in the description box. Do it. Do it. Actually, I've been saying this for like 2 or 3 weeks now. Like, oh, I'm going to monetize. Still haven't done it. I'm approved for it. But once I get that going, I guess you guys can fucking donate to us. If you feel like, of course. But yeah, Devon's Journey to Recovery, Unapologetics, GoFundMe. Both links in the description box. And here we go. Why waste time? Let's go right into it. This dude's a certified grifter. We're very sure of this, right? You should make funny rap video meme type things, right? Even his name, Baked Alaska, is like a fucking like weed fucking thing. So I guess it's his hip hop name. And then he became a race realist. And then he started harassing women outside of nightclubs. And then, I guess he was living in like the valley or something. That's what it looked like. Doing shit like that. And then, and he's randomly one of the leaders at the insurrection thing. He's been all over the world. He's been everywhere. For some reason, people trust him. Even though I feel like I could have... I feel like I could have smelled him out. Like, relatively early and be like, oh, this guy's full of shit. But, that's just me. Just me trying, to not, looking out for those George Bushes that might be hiding within your own fucking movements. Don't worry, it'll get people to not like you, but it is what it is. Do what you gotta do. Alright, so here we go. Without wasting any more time. Tariq Nasheed versus Jared Taylor. And I don't even know when I'm gonna stop playing the video. I'm just gonna play, pause, talk, whatever. Here we go.
White supremacist country. Go ahead, Tariq.
Yes. Yes. So the topic is America a white supremacist country? Not only is America a white supremacist country, we live in a complete white supremacist world. The whole entire planet is completely dominated in all areas of activity by systematic white supremacy. Not
Now, I've watched this before, and it kind of plays out like this, essentially. Him digging his own grave, using words like that, without any real logical backing to it, other than bad things have happened in the world, and then you can well, see, a white guy did it. But then it's like, Obama happened, and Condoleezza Rice, and Colin Powell, all these African nations with fucking warlords and shit like that. Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck, look. It's almost like your genes have nothing to do with you being shitty to the world. Oh my God. I know it's a strange concept. Usually we're looking for, it must be capitalism or communism or white supremacy or IQ or whatever the fuck people come up with. It all seem to be avoiding this one thing. What's that Tsarian thing? He didn't make it up, but I'm sure he got it from somewhere. Where they're all, you take 3 people, they're all blindfolded, and they touch an elephant's tail, but they all tell you 3 different stories. But the truth is, it's an elephant's tail, but they had the blindfolds on, so they're like, it's a snake, right? It's rope. And a third might be whatever, I don't know. It's a really misshapen dick. Whatever. But they're all like, they have no fucking clue. It's actually just an elephant tail. Actually, the elephant's like right next to them, but they don't fucking hear it because they already have their preconceived notions of what the fuck it is. But, things can get in the way. But anyways, here's more IQ. Call it IQ. Here we go.
Dominated in all areas of activity by systematic white supremacy. Not only is white supremacy a system, white supremacy is a religion, and I'm going to prove that on today's show. And in a religion, there has to be a God, there has to be a devil. White people who believe in white supremacy have made themselves into the gods. Black people are the devil, and there is no beginning or end to this system of mistreatment of black people. It's a boogeyman concept. In horror movies, you have the boogeyman like Freddy Krueger, like Jason, like Michael Myers. And
that's right.
Makes
we
these
should
movies
blame.
turn into franchises
What's happening is there's a
don't
civil
know the
war
origin
in
of these
Barack
monsters,
Obama's
and you
biology.
don't know
There's
how
just
to
a
get
war,
rid of the
ongoing
monsters.
war going on
And
in
that
there.
way you can
That's why he
scare
fucked up
people
as
into
president.
perpetuity. The
He
white
was distracted
supremacists
by
have done
his
this with systematic racism.
devil white
Black
man.
people are the
Or wait,
boogeyman.
devil white woman.
I'm going
His mom
to
was
scare
white, I
you,
think.
give me money for the next religious service.
That's what was
so
happening.
That's what I'm going to prove today, that white supremacy is a complete global system that dominates all areas of activity.
All right.
Well,
Go ahead and respond, Jared.
well, I'm fascinated to hear that white supremacy dominates the world. I
Yeah.
suppose that means that white supremacy dominates Japan
And it's
Korea,
over.
China.
Ding, 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 ding. It's over now already. It's already over. Well, I guess you could say white supremacy is dominating Japan or China. Like, that's how easy that argument is. Now, if you put it in the realm of like geopolitics, at the very least, put it in the realm of geopolitics or corruption, which would be better in my opinion, that'd be like the better thing to do. But that gives him no wiggle room. But hey, like if they're arguing about poor behavior in the world, the initial premise itself, the fucking debate topic, the debate premise is already dog shit. This is a stupid thing to be arguing about. I know it's a fucking grand old day for fucking Jared. He's like, yes. Actually, there are some points that Tariq makes that are fucking funny. Where it's like, yeah. All they do is they go around, they focus on black people, how bad they are. That's all these white supremacists do. Jared's like, Jared, 5 minutes into the future. Who killed this old white man over here? Oh, he was white? Okay, the rest story aside. Who killed this old white man? Black, yes. We're running with this story. It's magical. I can run through the story without any context, logic, or any type of deeper principles. Just look at it. It happened, right? It is what it is, huh? No context or nuance at all, huh? And you'll run to the same problem by screaming white supremacy everywhere, too. There's no basis for your statement. Unless, James, you actually, right? You do, right? You hate black people, right? What I heard, yeah. Okay. By the way, Tariq doesn't say all white people are white supremacists. He just says that's what's dominating the world. Meanwhile, President A secretly works with President B, secretly works with President C, and more likely, instead of saying president, you'd probably want to say something like intelligence services and people like that. We call them diplomats. Hey, didn't you bring it up not too long ago about this whole virus thing and then saying, maybe these China and the U.S. working together behind closed doors to fuck us all over? Shit. And how about all these other nations where, president ousted, then a new puppet pops up. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not like that happens in Africa all the time or South America all the time. Yeah, you know. Middle East all the time. I mean, you know. It is what it is. Like, are they working with them? I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah. Jared's like, happy day. Happy day.
Well, I'm fascinated to hear that white supremacy dominates the world. I
Yeah.
suppose that means that white supremacy dominates Japan and Korea, China, all of these countries that are being extremely successful and are better than white countries in export balances, in the kinds of standard of living that they're achieving. Seems to me it's a pretty ineffective white supremacy if it's permitting these non-white countries to advance faster than white countries are. At the same time, in the United States, it seems to me that if it is a white supremacist country, it's one in which it is organized strictly for the benefit of whites so that they can dominate and rule over people of other races. I would assume that that's what's meant by white supremacy. Under those circumstances, it seems to me quite contradictory that we have an immigration policy that is reducing whites to a minority. It's difficult to me to understand why
Bullshit
whites,
talking point.
if they really want
It's
to
been
dominate, they are
ran and
prepared
stomped over
to
already a
reduce
bunch of
themselves
times.
to a minority in which they have less influence, less power, less ability to make the country reflect their own character. Also, in a white supremacist society, presumably whites would be on top in all fields. Why is it that Asians have a higher per capita income, much more likely to get into an elite school? Why do even Hispanics, for example, have a higher life expectancy than whites? There are many, many respects in which the United States is not organized in a way that gives power to whites or that results in whites being on top of everybody else. All of these things would be completely impossible if the United States really were organized in a white supremacist way.
You gave him the room and he fucking took it because I'm just saying, yeah, there's a reason, I would think. But anyways, it's like, as soon as you put it in the premise of white supremacy, it's already fucked and Jared's going to run over you with it. But if you put it in the context, maybe if you put it more in a context of, which is not, in my opinion, not the best way to look at it, but still, it'll do better than this shit. If you put it in the context of Western powers doing things around the world and trying to have control over the world and fucking, you see U.S. Army bases all over the fucking world, man. Imagine that if that argument was made instead. It's like, where does Jared go now? Even that simple, basic argument, where does Jared go? And then when you explain to him, it's like, oh, it's all a bunch of different races doing all these shitty things in the world. All these different types of people doing horrible things in the world. Now where does Jared go? Well, on average, blah blah blah. How many? Okay, this many of this race does this. Okay, what's that? What's the percentage of that? How many of that race do these particular crimes? Well, you know. If you say the number, the human ego would, a conditioned human ego would look at that and be like, really? 0.001%? Just on its face, just looking at it. Be like, that's such a small percentage of this entire population. You keep bringing it up over and over again, Jared, but what should we do about it? What should we do about this 0.001% of this population? I think we heard some things, right? Pretty recently. Because Jared, God help me I hope he's a psyop. Because like if you actually think this, you've been tricked this much to think this way, it's like you've been psyoped. You've been tricked and bamboozled, my friend. And it sucks. But if you seriously think like, clearly they're trying to get rid of the white race. They're trying to diminish us. Even like the notion he made right there, it's already been ran over. If your birth rates are in a similar territory, but the other populations are increasing, right? Even though that's not really right. Because if you look at illegal immigration, according to the numbers that I hear from people, apparently there's more people leaving than there are coming into the country. But then you look at something like the Bill Clinton era with NAFTA and all that. Like, see how you have to kind of do like a full compass response about these fucking topics. You can't just say they're just eliminating us, just getting rid of us. Well, if you look at the IQ, look at the black crime rate with no context. Just say that. See how lazy and dishonest, lazy and dishonest that shit is. But you know, Tariq is apparently a dumb guy too, so he's gonna give Jared more leash. Here we go.
Let me address all those things in unison. First, you said if we were in a white supremacist world, places in Asia like Japan, China, and Korea would not be doing better than white supremacist nations. Understand, China, Korea, Japan, and all the Asian nations are completely dependent and under the subjugation of white supremacy. There was an old saying in the United States, you don't have a Chinaman's chance in hell. They are allowed to thrive by the white supremacists.
By the way, Jared, once again, will take all this and flip it on its head, and he'll be fucked. Right? If you're saying the white supremacists control everything, then that means any type of good thing that a black person does is all due to white supremacy allowing it to happen. It's like that's such an easy flip. It's such an easy flip. It's like yeah, you know, fuck it. I'm sure it feels good to say what he's saying. Sure, his emotions like yeah, until he gets like possibly cornered. Then it's like and those are those little moments when you get home and you're like, fuck. No, I was right. Was I? No, I was right. Something tells me this guy went home and said, I was right. Even though clearly cornered, your logic fell apart. It got dismantled by a possible Fed or clearly someone with poor ideas, Jared Taylor. And, yeah, you got to live with it, man. I don't know why it's like, I don't know. Something tells me he would just go home and be like, no, I was right. And make sure he gets up extra early the next day to get on radio to show everybody how right he is, and then never talk about it again. Nah, I don't know that part, but yeah, I can see that. All right, let's play more.
Subjugation of white supremacy. There was an old saying in the United States, you don't have a Chinaman's chance in hell. They are allowed to thrive by the white supremacists. They can stop them from thriving at the drop of a hat. As a matter of fact, speaking of Japan, they blew up Japan at one point and then helped them get rebuilt back together. So the white supremacists dominate those Asian nations. Let's talk about Korea. We're talking about blowing up Korea right now because Korea is not playing ball, so to speak, and they just put trade sanctions on North Korea. So they can put sanctions on countries, they can blow up countries, they can do anything they want to countries.
They do it all the time.
Create computer glitches, do anything they want to destroy these nations anytime they feel. They let them thrive, and the operative term is let. Here in America, for a long time, Asians were looked down upon. Then all of a sudden, when they had the civil rights movement in the 1960s, Asians became the model minority because white supremacists elevated the Asians to undercut any type of black progress. So any progress that an
you can probably see Jared with a big smile on his face. He's like, you fucking idiot.
Have been looked at as honorary Nazis by Hitler. He looked at some of them as honorary Nazis. So again, the operative word is allowed.
Gracious. So China is advancing, or Japan has done well, simply because the white nations, I assume you mean the United States, or are Germany, Sweden, Denmark, we're all in it together to let China progress? We're all in it together to let Korea and Japan progress? Or is it just the United States? Are we the top dog, or do we have to consult with anybody else in order to let the Chinese go on to eventually become a larger economy than ourselves?
We know that China was still dominant.
As a little bit more of a brutal
way. It was colonized by Britain until fairly
recently. Been done over and over again.
The economic hub of China.
Not we, but
Yeah.
19th century.
Global-
Talking about the
But no,
opium war. I'm talking about now.
Sir, we're talking about, sir, like in the 90s, Britain just really got their stronghold
We
out
did
of
it.
China. So when I talk about white supremacy, I'm not just talking about the
League of
United
Shadows did
States. I'm having, I can't get nothing here. Hold on.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
we can hear
You
you.
do it? Okay.
Yeah.
I was looking at the playback. Okay. My
No
bad.
worries. Go ahead.
Okay. But like I said, Britain just got their foothold out of China directly. They were directly colonizing them. And they still do economically. They still control the economics, the trade.
They control
All of that is
economics?
being, because they control the trade. They can put trade sanctions on any of these Chinese, Asian, any of these nations. The white supremacists can.
Now take that, what he just said. They can put sanctions on whatever country or any trade or whatever the fuck. Take that, but replace that word white supremacist. Whatever you want to put on there would be better than what the fuck he's saying. Because is that not true? Can they control the market of other nations by sanctions and all these other things? You could start a proxy war and fuck up an economy for other countries. But if you put it on the label of white supremacist, then you see some fucking black dude doing it, then it doesn't make sense to people. And Jared he's like, yes, another argument where I get to avoid real foreign policy. I can just focus on IQ now. I'm insecure. I'm insecure about my intellectual rigor. I must work on shallow arguments and hope I receive shallow arguments in return, you fucking losers. I'm sorry, but I gotta make fun of the guy. It's just gonna happen. Ugh, how come you don't make fun of Tariq? Well, he's probably a cooler dude than Jared. Like, as far as if you're just cracking jokes with someone, he'd probably be cooler. I'm just being real. I could probably hang out with the guy. I'd be like, you're a fucking idiot. We can crack jokes or something. Yeah, we should on him too, but Jared though. Come on, bro. I've been conditioned in such a way to where that shit's fucking funny, bro. He's just a stereotype. Like evil Jared. I know. Which one's easier to make fun? It's kind of close to me. Because Jerry can somewhat speak properly. He said Jesse Lee Peterson. But Jesse Lee, man. He's a fucking godsend. Someone blessed him, man. So's Jared.
What?
Yeah, I gotta lean towards Jared. Because sometimes Jesse, you feel bad. You sound so, not even the words you're saying, just the way you say them, sound kind of dumb. You children of the lie.
Black people.
Oh, black people down.
I got a new series.
Django ass. Get what? The Adventures of Jared and Jesse Lee. All right, let's keep playing more of this dumpster fire.
Control directly and indirectly. And the most indirect way they control nations is through trade sanctions. They're doing that to non-white nations.
Literally just putting myself on a time limit.
Wait. Japan and China both have an enormous trade
speed this up, by the way. I should've
with the
did that
United
already.
States and with Europe. They are outcompeting us on trade. We are just generously letting them sell more things to us. We are just generally letting them accumulate our assets. We're just generally letting them buy our own factories. This is all just some sort of deep white supremacist plan to make them look like they're controlling us when we're in fact actually controlling them.
Yes, you're controlling them, and the white supremacists are getting a stronghold over there in Asian countries. This is why many of you are over there, especially you white extremists. This is why so many of you are having relationships with the Asian women. You guys you look at some of the big top white supremacist corporation owners, many of these guys, the Rupert Murdochs, all of these people are tied in with these Asians and Eurasians. Look at Trump. Trump has a Eurasian. So there's always been that connection. You allow them to thrive, and you can stop it at any time.
They're trying to mate with the Asians. Yeah, I mean, what? Like I said, field day for Jared. Just keep it playing.
Really?
Oh,
you
yeah.
mean how would the United States stop China from increasing its economy? How would we do that?
Well, you can just put trade
He
sanctions
didn't
on
even
them.
address
You can
that
stop them by
part.
putting trade sanctions on them,
What
or
is
you can just blow them up.
Asian.
Look,
Procreate.
we have tried to
Skips
put
over
trade
that one.
sanctions on North Korea, which is a tiny,
so
small
do I.
economy, and they still don't do what we want them to do. They have continued to develop their nuclear weapons. If North Korea, which is a tiny, insignificant country, can thumb its nose.
Look at this fucking tool bag, baked Alaska. Look at his fucking picture, bro. His hip bends a certain way. So that's as tooly as it gets.
At the United States and
Look at
continue
that
to develop
fucking
nuclear
picture.
weapons, despite our telling them not to. It seems to me we have a very, very feeble white supremacist world order.
No, you don't, because they're making threats against North Korea now. They're talking about blowing that place up when the economic sanctions don't work. The white supremacists will just go blow the country up. The white supremacists have two tactics. They have deception and they have violence. And when deception doesn't work, they have no problem going in there with the jackals, the CIA, whoever, to take the people out. That's the MO.
Is that not John Perkins, economic hitman? But what's the context now? What's the context now? It's just white supremacists. It's like taking Firas Zahabi's like gremlin theory and just making it an actual thing. Like, we all see gravity's happening. You can make an explanation for it, but we're gonna call it gremlins though. They gremlins did it. It's like, fuck. It's like you're muddying your own waters. Who knows if that's on purpose or not? But just saying.
The white supremacists, and they've done that consistently throughout history.
Life, bro.
Okay, and if the Chinese don't play ball with us, if the Chinese decide that they want to take the Spratly Islands or they want to take the Senkaku Islands from somebody that we think ought to have them, then we're just going to blow them up too because we're white supremacists.
Because the Chinese and many of the Asian countries are playing ball. They are playing ball. They're doing what they're told. And the minute they stop doing what they're told, like North Korea, all of a sudden we see the trade sanctions and we see the nuclear threats and we see the little rocket man talk.
Well, I'm fascinated to learn that by trade sanctions, we can control nations that actually have a huge trade surplus with us. That will be a new one for all the economies.
They have a trade surplus with us because we allow, well, not we, the white supremacists who run the country allowed it. That's why they have a trade surplus.
Why is the U.S. so powerful? Why is it the most powerful nation on the planet? I don't think it's really about money or anything. I think it's that goddamn military. And how much we... I mean, I would say, yeah. It's a little bit bigger than just the U.S., but like on the surface, it's the fucking military, bro. Let's be real about that. No one wants smoke with that shit. But, like all these nations that are like, the U.S. wouldn't go to war with them. Like, yeah, because it wouldn't be like so advantageous. But if they did, they'd run over that fucking country. Be real about that. They'd run over the country with all their fucking weapons. They probably got lasers already in space. But yeah, it wouldn't be advantageous strategically for what these creepy fucks want to do. But of course, once again, let's just put it in the context of white supremacy, and then, just do that. They have to explain all these other things that fucking happen, which these foreign policy answers can't account for. But let's continue.
I see, because we permit them to do this, even though it means that some of our businesses go out, all of our jobs get exported to China. We must think that's a great thing. If our manufacturing jobs disappear to China, we must think that's a wonderful thing because we're stupid white supremacists.
Look, a lot of the white supremacists are not that smart, but the main ones are. And I've always said this: the white supremacists are hands down the most smartest people on the planet. And smart doesn't have to do with IQ. You can be deceptively smart, and they're smart enough to use deception.
No. So you said something earlier that I found quite fascinating. You said that at some point when the Black Civil Rights Movement was making progress, that was when white people decided to elevate the Chinese and the Japanese, elevate the Asians, and make them into a model minority, which they would not have been if we had not let them. So in effect, we tricked them into being more successful and smarter than we are, while at the same time we have tricked Black people into being less successful and less smart than we are. Is that what white supremacists have done?
Wait, 1 second. Wait, can you guys hear me? I'm on my end. Hold on 1 second.
We can hear you fine.
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Because I'm streaming this on my thing, and they're saying there's audio static. Oh my goodness.
No worries.
All right, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you fine.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I don't know if that's the case, but his mic has been in and out. Not gonna lie about it.
They can barely hear. Hold on 1 second.
Because Baked Grifter is gonna ask you a question.
I want to address what you're saying.
Everything good?
Hello?
Hello?
Hold on 1 second. Okay, how about in the chat room? How is that? Pushing the earphone. What are they saying? Oh, okay.
Tariq, are you googling the answers right now?
No, I'm streaming live, and the people saying they can't hear me, so I can't stream live. I just have to use, I have to download it. So I got to stop streaming live on my end. So I'm not googling anything, but let me stop streaming.
No, I'm just joking.
You better be joking. You can't Google a question like that. Jordan, what's your favorite color? Are you Googling it? Can't do that shit.
Yeah,
okay.
You have permission. Yeah, you have permission. You can use this video on your channel. You can mirror it or whatever you need to do.
Okay. All right. Let me just.
All right. Let's get back into it. Let's get going.
Let me repeat my question here.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said something about how when the Black Civil Rights Movement got going, then the white supremacists, so we white supremacists, decided that we were going to elevate the Asians into a model minority. And I suppose they would not have been a model minority unless that we had permitted them to. So we more or less tricked or browbeated or somehow made them into a group that has a lower crime rate than whites, lower illegitimacy rates than whites, more successful academically than whites. We tricked them into that. Whereas in the case of Black people, we tricked them into having a higher crime rate and a higher illegitimacy rate and a higher poverty rate. Does that pretty much
illegitimacy?
Well, the thing is, Jared, even before the civil rights movement, the Asians had a low crime rate, and Black people.
It's like borrowed all of religion without the soul. Like the soul part of it. Let's leave that out. It hurts my argument. But as far as illegitimacy goes, yes. Born out of wedlock? Huh? You're an illegitimate child. Hey, go tell a kid that. Go tell Tyson that. Go tell Mike Tyson he's an illegitimate child. Go say anything in front of Mike Tyson. He'll hear your voice and be like, I don't like that. Just fucking punch him, bro. What'd you say to me? I said, hello, young man. just play it. That'd be so fucked up. Hey, Jared, I want you to meet someone. Show Mike 30 seconds of this guy talking about whatever race shit. Or that shit we watched. Yeah. And he'll be instantly like chest caved in. I don't want him to see the bruises. So he punches them in the chest, just caves it.
Hey, come back here.
Look how these lessers make jokes about violence to Jared. Even though they make fun of everyone like that, but I'm a Jared fan, so I take more offense to it. All right, a little more, guys. This is basically how the topics are different, I'm sure, but you're gonna get a similar This is how I feel about it.
academic
And
reviews.
obviously,
We
I'll
trick
link the
them into
video
that.
so you can watch the rest
Whereas
of
in the
it.
case of black people, we trick them into having a higher crime rate and a higher illegitimacy rate and a higher poverty rate. Does that pretty much summarize your view?
Well, the thing is, Jared, even before the civil rights movement, the Asians had a low crime rate and black people had a low crime rate. But you still had the yellow peril. You still dominated and mistreated them and used coded language and not so coded language to disparage them openly.
Wait, I want to get back to this model minority stuff.
That's where I'm going with it. That's where I'm going with it. Before they were the model minorities, the crime rate was low with people of Asian descent. They weren't committing crimes. They didn't have out of wedlock babies. They were just doing their thing. Nothing changed with them. Nothing changed with them after the civil rights movement, other than the white supremacists wanted to use them to undercut black society. Nothing changed.
Well, but then we used them to undercut black society, but in a way that in effect undercuts white society, because Asians are now, they have a higher income than whites, more likely to get into elite schools, and they have, as I say, less likely to be in jail. In other words, we have created a model minority that is even more successful than the white supremacists. Again, this sounds like very stupid white supremacy to me.
That's not true. They're not more successful than the white supremacists.
Not more successful.
They're not more successful at all. Look at all the major corporations in America. Who owns?
They are.
Who's running law enforcement? They don't run all the major corporations. The Japanese are allowed to do anything they're allowed to do. The white supremacists allow them to. They're not successful or more successful as people who believe in white supremacy, because the people who believe in white supremacy still control the resources.
The Asians.
This is where you're supposed to tell them, when I say white supremacists, I mean these particular people. Because that's what he's going to say. At least later on he says it. That it's a group, it's a particular type of person, whoever believes in this or whatever. But he doesn't blanket all white people as that. Maybe he assumed Jared would think that, but I don't think then he doesn't know Jared. Jared's looking for that way to sell that fucking narrative, bro. He's looking for that shit.
Have higher per capita income by far. Indian Americans, for example, have a much higher per capita income than white Americans. Chinese, Japanese, as I say, they're much more likely to get into elite schools, and there is nothing stopping. Look at the Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is full of Asians who have these great programming jobs. They are extremely successful. Now, if 5% of the population, just let me finish, please. If 5% of the population does not yet have a dominant position in running Fortune 500 companies, that will just come in time, given the kinds of advantages that they now have. Again, this seems like a very, very nearsighted and foolish white supremacist policy to build up a group that is being more successful than whites themselves.
They're not. I mean, just saying that they're more successful doesn't mean that they are more successful.
They have to be.
You allow them to thrive. And the minute they do something that you don't like, just like any other immigrant group, Hispanics, they were brought in to undercut black society as well. Now that they're used as a political point, now the Hispanics are bad. Now all of a sudden you're throwing people out of the country.
Racist.
So the key word is allowed. You can do anything to any immigrant group you want to, because as white supremacists, that's what you do.
Wait, if we decided.
Actually, it'll be fun. I don't even know if I'll get to it, but he says, I think he says something about just the way, I think it's actually the way blacks look is the reason why there's white supremacy. I don't like the way you look. I associate it with demon or devil or something, so I must treat you bad. I'll tell you. Who let these two fucking guys... First of all, the moderator alone, bro. The moderator alone. But then there are these two fucking knuckleheads arguing with each other, bro. What the fuck? Are these people... It's really like the... What? Did they really be the ones? And then make the last himself fucking the one... the one moderating. Why not have someone who thinks they're both idiots in there at the same time? Let that person be like the moderator and throw questions back and be like, neither of you guys make any fucking sense. You know what? Let's make this into a lecture instead of a debate. Let's sit down and have a chat. All right, here we go.
That the Asians
little bit more
too big for the britches.
Yes.
What would we do?
You would throw them out of America just like you're doing Hispanic groups, Muslim groups.
Wait. They're American citizens. We would strip them of citizenship and throw them out. Is that what we white supremacists would do?
Absolutely.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Okay, I see.
To be honest, Jared, that's what your idea leads to. And you all but say it leads to that. Well, how do we stop racism? We get rid of multi-racial things. Multiculturalism, you get rid of it. That's how you get rid of racism. No one can lynch a black if there's no black people around. Come on, think about it. Simple logic. Oh my god. I'm sorry, cannabis. I'm stopping it here, bro. I'm 40 minutes in. How come I get two motherfuckers sending me 1.5 hour videos? And I'm like, try to keep it like 15 minutes or less. I get 2.5 hour videos immediately after I say that. I know, they fucking hate me. I mean, I'm going to leave the rest of the video in the description box. This is simple, basic, surface level. Like, if you studied an ounce of politics, Jared's done for. If you study an ounce of existentialism, Tariq's done for. Or, or morality or anything like that. Huh? Yeah, all of them. So do that then. Go study that shit. Please subscribe if you like, comment, agree, disagree with what I was saying. What do you think about the video? If you go watch the rest of it, or what do you think about my thoughts? Please leave it in the comment section. Don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to Devon's Journey to Recovery and Unapologetic's GoFundMe, both links in the description box. And with all that said, give this video a thumbs down.
Say you wanna get in, I know you wanna get out.
Oh my god. Woo!
Say you wanna get in.